go back to the beginning of the build, before the restaurant was full, before the beer garden came alive, and before I understood what I was getting into. At 25, I had a vision for what it could become, but I didn't have all the answers. And I had to learn how to think through the space, the bar, the kitchen, the dining room, the budget, the build out, the experience, and the hundreds of small decisions that turn an empty building into a real hospitality business. So this is part of the story where the idea became a reality and it's not polished. I remember the first time I went to look at the space with my business partner, Nicole, and I remember really like walking through this empty beer garden or empty patio at the time, and this empty room which would become the main dining room, and there was nothing in there. There were fold-up tables and some plastic chairs, and this space was being used as a members club, but it was being underutilized. I mean, they were using it a few times a year maybe. I could still see that it could become something, because for me, empty space is just a blank canvas. It doesn't matter where it is. If we've got electricity and we've got walls and a roof, then we can do something with it. I now believe that over time, that has become a skill that I have worked at, and I'm now very confident in the ability that I have, that I'm able to walk into nearly any kind of space and understand it pretty quickly, see how people might move around it, where the energy might collect, where the bar might be, where the table should sit, where people will naturally want to pause, and so on. But to figure out, how do we develop this kitchen? How do we make it work for the menu that we want to put out? The lighting, the layout, permits, budget, so on. And our budget wasn't very big. So, but the reality check, one of the biggest lessons that I had is that it is 100 small projects stacked on top of each other. You don't just build a bar. You need drainage, you need sinks. Then you think about, where's the ice coming from? What are we refrigerating? What are we not refrigerating? Storage, the electrical requirement, the plumbing requirement, what tile are we going to use? I learned about cove base, and I learned floor sinks, and just a whole other level of detail that goes into a bar. It seems so simple at first. I think one of the first big quotes that I got back was the bar itself, just the actual bar, not the back bar. And someone was quoting about $15,000 just to put this, build it. And I remember sitting there with the architect's drawings and thinking, where's $15,000 coming from? Like, how does that happen? So that's when I just started to break it down, and I would just go into restaurants and bars, and I'd take a look, and I'd write some notes down, and I'd put some notes on my phone and just start to build it. And I think, right, okay, it's some lumber, okay, and then it's some form of finish. How do I want it to? Is it tile? And then I just start to break that down. When you don't have unlimited money, you have to develop taste and judgment and discipline. You have to make every decision count, because you can't waste any money. And that pressure shaped the whole place. It forced us to be creative. It forced us to make things feel intentional when the budget was tight. Chalkboards with handwritten message as you walk through the door. It forced us to care about details that other people might have just paid someone else to solve. And then eventually all these decisions just came together and created a room full of people, food moving through the space, and glasses on the table, noise and energy and laughter and momentum, and the part you can't fully see when you're standing there, when the tools are on the floor. That you're not just building a restaurant, you're actually building a place where life happens. And I had huge life moments happen, especially during that phase of the time that I was there operating. But that reminded me that we were building more than a restaurant. We were building a place for people to get married, a place for people to celebrate life, a place to celebrate family. And this was only just the beginning.